Welcome to the Mac and Hui Show. I'm Mac,
Hui.
and we're here today to talk about sports, reality TV shows, and just about our lives. Let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is the Karl Anthony Towns trade. The former Timberwolves star, going to the New York Knicks in the trade where he will be traded for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. What do you think of it?
Just seeing Cat's reaction made me feel bad for him. Like, it reminded me of the fact that the Timberwolves haven't won or haven't been to the playoffs in such a long time, let alone make it to the second round. Or they made it to the Western Conference Finals, right?
That's right.
Western Conference Finals since 2004, and this is their first successful playoff run in a long time. And as soon as that happened, their core star, who's been with them his entire career, 7, 8 years, something like that.
9 years, almost a decade.
Jeez. Just like that, he's gone. He's gone. It just reminds you the lack of loyalty in the business, and
So, Karl Anthony Towns changed positions, going from the 5 to the 4 when they made the trade for Rudy Gobert. And he took a back seat for 5, 6 years. He was Minnesota's #1 option. And then the emergence of Anthony Edwards made Cat go from the 1 to the 2. And Towns really flourished in that role as the second guy and changing positions. And then for him to be traded like that after all the things that he did to adjust his game, man, for Cat, man, I feel for him. That sucks. That sucks. Because he did the things that you want a player to do,
yeah,
to sacrifice to win a championship, and then
absolutely.
they dumped him out the door like that.
Just shows us the NBA is just a business, huh?
Yup, it is a business.
So it's a harsh reminder.
It is. It is. It is. For New York, them getting Cat, look, they went from Mitchell Robinson, who will be their backup. They went from Mitchell Robinson, who's not really a floor spacer. He's more of a lob threat. And now they're getting Towns, who I think he's going to go back to his natural 5 position. And so they just upgraded in terms of floor spacing. Like, they just got one of the best three-point shooting big men ever, if not the greatest three-point shooting big man ever.
Oh yeah, it's probably him and Dirk.
I think so too. So
Yeah,
the Knicks, they just turned a weakness of floor spacing at the 5 into a strength. I mean, Cat, dude, like, he can hit those trail 3-pointers early in the shot clock. He can take and make some deep 3-pointers. Awesome catch and 3-point shooter. This is a tremendous upgrade for the New York Knicks. They got the best player in the trade, and they did have to give up Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, another
he's really
good
solid.
role player.
Yeah,
Yep. And it sucks that we don't even get to see those Villanova guys, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges,
yeah,
Josh Hart, and Dante DiVincenzo. We don't even get to see them play a game together.
yeah.
Again, that's the business, man.
That's the business.
Because we were talking about, I mean, a lot of people were talking about, well, like, those 4 guys, hey, maybe the power of friendship can win them a championship, and then the trade happens and they don't even get to play a game together.
I like that power of friendship. Do you have a section for the Padres?
We can go right into that.
Let's talk about the Padres, man.
Dude, the Padres, as of today, as of we're recording today, the Padres are up 2-1 in the series against the LA Dodgers. It is the 3rd time that the Padres are playing the Dodgers in the playoffs. 3rd time in 5 years.
Oh yeah.
So the first series the Dodgers took it, and then the last playoff series the Padres took it. And right now Padres are up 2-1, and as we are recording this, they have a chance to return back to the NCLS round for the second time in 3 years, and they gotta go through the Dodgers again.
Man, I wish I knew more about baseball. I like Tatis's swag. What were you gonna say?
Dude, this is like the talk of the town now.
Oh yeah, as San Diegans, we have to talk about it, especially if it's a sports podcast. I'm more basketball. Mac is more football, basketball. But as San Diegans, it is essential that we learn more about this timeless sport. I don't know why. Can we talk about this, bro? I just want to talk about maybe why baseball isn't too and not as mainstream as NFL or basketball per se. I'm assuming it's because of the amount of games, because it's 164, 162, which is double the NBA,
basically.
and then times 10 the NFL. So the anticipation of it per game, the spacing per game isn't as inflamed. It's not as built up. But man, the playoffs seems like a different story because it's all best of 7. Some of it's best of 5. Some of it's best of 3, right? Or is it best of 5?
Best of 5.
Best of 5,
They
right?
even have they had a best of 1 too. Some of the playoff formats in the past have been literally like the first round best of 1. That's it.
Wow. Okay. So that's where it seems like it gets really dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, because like in football, okay, football is one thing because
Yeah.
football plays 16 games, so it makes sense to just play one round, one game. And in baseball, you play 162 games, and then you could literally like play, like I said, 162 games, and then be done after one playoff game.
True. Yeah.
I don't
It's
like
devastating. Yeah. I think there needs to be some type of rework. Maybe best of 10. Oh, no, that doesn't matter. Math it out.
That's an
Best of
even
9?
number.
Best of
There you
9.
go.
Best of 9 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would make the sample size more accurate.
Or just
Especially
cut
because,
down the numbers of games played in the regular season.
or that, yeah. But I heard it's high because of the lack of intensity and the lack of or the more randomness of baseball, because it is there's less planning. Is that right to say? Is there less planning in baseball? I'm not talking about the conditioning. Obviously, that's
I think
intensive.
so.
That's super intensive. But
Because football is like, I think because they have a week in between,
yeah,
they watch a lot more. They watch a lot more film, and they have a lot more sessions to
yeah,
study. Like NBA, you can have back to backs. So in that 24-hour time frame from game to game, they probably don't even watch film in between. Maybe just to practice and then get ready for that game in that 24-hour time span.
yeah,
I mean, think about it too. So like baseball, the it's only the pitchers. The pitchers in that rotation, in that 5-man rotation. So they pitch essentially once a week. So let's say their ace pitcher pitches on Monday, and then he's got after that game, then he's got a whole week to rework his arm mechanics, get healthy,
yeah.
and then he'll pitch again the next week.
1 minute warning.
Yep. And then all the other players, they just play every day.
Yeah,
They play every day. I don't think there's a whole lot of film watching, scouting for sure, but I don't think there's like a whole lot of, like I said, film sessions for baseball. A lot of practice, a lot of practice time for baseball players because they constantly playing every day.
day.
Yep. Going back to the pitchers, they play in rotation. So like the ace pitcher, let's say it's a 7-game series, ace pitcher plays game 1, and then they go to their other starting pitchers, and then if they go to like a pivotal game 5, then it goes right back to top order, back to the ace pitcher, and then game 7 is where they empty out the tank, where like every pitcher will probably play because it's the last game.
Mac, you know baseball. You know baseball, bro. That's
We're getting there. We're getting there.
y'all know all the terminology and the nooks and crannies of it, man.
We're getting there.
Respect,
We're getting there. Okay, so we're gonna jump into this topic of the NFL and the NFLPA, the Players Association, where the Bengals offensive lineman, the president of it, Ted Karras, announced like last week that they will have a change in how the media and the players do their media sessions and their interview sessions. So for a while now, the process has been like, okay, the game ends, the players they go to the locker room, and then they do their speech, they give their speeches, they give the game balls out. Players, coaches, they huddle up, and then after the concluding post game huddle, post game speeches, then all the players they go to their individual lockers, and then they change, and then they do the interviews with the media sessions. And so one of the things is that one of the problems has been that like basically some of the guys would literally be changing at their lockers, and then
Oh, yeah.
there'll be other players doing their media sessions in their locker right next to them, so the cameras would literally be on
Yeah.
dudes that are basically just not fully clothed.
The locker room is a sacred place. Like it's very private in there.
Correct, and that's exactly the word that Ted Karras used to describe the locker room, trying to keep it sacred.
Yeah.
So they came up. They're trying to come up with this solution to where, hey, the media they can still conduct their interviews, while at the same time give the players, give the coaches their privacy. So what they're thinking is that they want the players. They're gonna go to the locker, and then change, get into their street clothes, and then they'll walk out of the locker room to a designated area, and then they'll do the interviews with the media team. So that's the process that they're looking to implement. It logically, in my opinion, it does make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Give the players their privacy. From the journalist perspective, though, the only downside is that it's just those little things where it's like let's say a game ends and then all the high emotions of the game, the game was like super tight, went down to the wire, and then the journalists they want to get the players' reaction at their peak,
Yeah.
all their emotions, and now they have to wait that extra 5 minutes to let the players change before they can interview them. So that's the one downside to the potential new implementing of these rules. And then for the players though, it does give them that privacy of allowing them to, in a sense, like go to the locker, change, and then do their interview sessions, and also fulfilling their media duties as part of their contract.
I think replacing the peak, an interview that replaces the peak emotion interview is the interview that I know you're not a huge fan of, is the one that the players go to the sideline. I guess you're more of not a fan of the coach talking during timeouts, right? Because they're just trying to get it over with as soon as possible.
Correct.
But
And they don't give like really good like information.
Yeah,
Too.
because it's so limited, and they're just like, oh, why are we doing this? It's always that. But never mind, I take that back because the sideline interview, post game, they have all the time in the world. So, I think as long as that maintains its implementation, then I think that there's no point in going in the locker room because they're when it's like interviewing someone in their like bedroom. Like, or yeah, it's just very intimate, and it doesn't make sense for journalists to even be there in the first place.
The thing is that the media team, really the only reason why they want to interview the coaches, the players, in between quarters or at halftime or post game is that they just want to show that they have access to the players. They want to show that they have
Oh, yeah.
access to the coaches.
Like we're not just a sporting company. We're like CBS. We're this and that,
Yes.
NBC, all that. Yeah,
Yes, they just want to show their access. And yeah, it's like,
that's kind of That's kind of high school, wouldn't you say?
what do you mean?
Like there's like a hierarchy. Like, hey, we're credible because we get to be in the locker room.
Yes, yes. I mean, they literally do need to provide their media passes to get into XYZ space.
Man,
Rarely so though in these like post game interviews, these halftime interviews. We don't really get that many like substantial things where like we can take away from the interviews. I mean, I just call it what it is. We usually get the same coaches like, hey, we need to do a better job. We need to have more urgency. We gotta stop turning the ball over. Just all the everything that's fundamental. Everything that's fundamental. We rarely get anything that's like, okay, that was really useful information that we really needed to get.
yeah, it's just no one cares about the X's and O's. People want the drama. It's like regular news. JJ Redick. That's why you like the JJ Redick podcast, right?
Exactly.
How's that podcast doing?
I don't know if he's going to continue that podcast because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
coaching
He's a coach now.
for the Lakers. He gave a lot of good insight from that Lakers preseason game.
Yeah.
Like last week where he was doing the interview and he was giving some good information where he was like, hey, we need to force these drives to the middle of the floor. He wasn't giving the typical, hey, our energy needs to be better. Hey, we need to communicate more on the defensive end. Something, those are very generic things.
Yeah.
He was straight up was like, hey, we gotta actually send these drivers to the middle of the floor to where the help is. And those were some really insightful stuff from the coach. And I think it was really more it wasn't really more of the reporter. It was just him, like, because he has been on the other side. He
Yeah, yeah,
knows
yeah, yeah.
he knows we're like, hey, I can get insight from these people by just talking basketball. So now that he's the one giving that interview, he's willing to give the viewers actual insight on the game instead of the same old five different answers. We need to
Yeah.
play better. Like, he gave some, like, real good insight, and he did it without, like, giving his game plan away.
Yeah.
So I thought that was awesome from JJ Redick.
But like he was talking to us like we were the players themselves, and that gives people that's attention grabbing because it's like, oh, you're letting us in into your huddle without obviously giving away the entire plan, you know.
Yep.
Otherwise, instead of people watching the Lakers film, they'd probably watch JJ Redick interviews
Yep.
the entire practice.
Real good insight from JJ Redick.
For those that don't know,
Josh Allen, Bills quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks in football. This is a guy that has been, like, he's just got all the tools as a quarterback. And I think, because we talked about this last week,
yeah,
like, this generation for basketball, people want to be like Paul George, that build, because he's tall, he's got some great handles.
flash.
Yup, he can shoot, he can defend. Just really good handles. Smooth player. Everybody wants to be like him. Everyone wants to have that build. Like, he may not be the best player of this generation, but him being one of the top players of this generation, a lot of people want to be like him.
He'll definitely be one of the most remembered.
And then, so you got the Buffalo Bills quarterback, Josh Allen. I haven't seen it from a whole lot of people, but I think a lot of people this generation would want to be like Josh Allen because he's 6'5", he's tall, he is athletic, can hurdle
6'5"?
defenders. Yeah.
How tall are quarterbacks usually?
6'3". I think 6'3", 6'2".
Really?
Yeah, he's one of the taller quarterbacks in football.
Huh.
He is just an absolute stud. Like I said, I think people would want to be like him because he's just got a rocket of an arm. His arm strength is effortless. And not only does he have a rocket for throwing deep balls, but he's got a rocket for, like, his velocity. He can really throw that football. Like, he can throw that thing. I don't know how many miles per hour, but it's really good. He just got that velocity where he can throw it into tight windows and complete passes. So I think he's got all the tools that the next generation would want to be like. Like I said, tall, athletic, those traits, rocket of an arm. All the kids, they want to be able to throw that deep ball. And he's just got a velocity that's just ridiculous, where he can just throw the football at like I said, ridiculous miles, some XYZ miles per hour, and then just fit it into a tight window and complete passes.
I'm speaking from the perspective of a person that's not too familiar with NFL, and I'm gonna be. I don't know if I'm just patting myself in the back, but I think this is a reliable perspective for this podcast because not everyone watches NFL. So I want to ask this because I am curious. Where would you place Josh Allen among the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now?
Top 5 for sure. If we're talking about this season, he could legitimately be the best performing quarterback so far. And he lost his number 1 wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, last year in free agency, or through trade to the Houston Texans.
Wow.
So him losing Stephon Diggs and his second receiver, Gabe Davis, in free agency, and him still playing like an MVP, he's ridiculously good.
Wow. So I know there's quarterback styles. So I know Lamar Jackson runs. Mahomes is creative, right? What would you say?
Off script.
Off script.
Yes.
Okay. So he'll cut the X's and O's if you know.
And he's gonna play
Push comes
backyard
to shove.
football.
Backyard football. Okay, that's pretty cool. So, and then there's I'll just say Brady. Brady's the one that passes mostly, right? He can go long, he can go short.
Pocket, very fundamental. He's like Tim Duncan in a sense.
Okay.
They're both very fundamental. Brady's gonna beat you with his eyes, all the little things. He just knows where to go with the football before the play happens.
Yeah. What type of play style is Josh Allen? Through those 3 categories I just laid out: passing, jumbled, and then running. Like what's his strength?
Ooh. I think it's a combination of passing and running because he is their run game as well. Like I
Whoa,
said,
no way.
they don't really
Like
hand
Michael Vick, Lamar
yeah,
Jackson level.
yeah, they don't really hand the ball off to their running backs as much. So Josh Allen, they give him a lot of design
Wow.
runs. He is their run game sometimes as well. Like I
He's quick
said,
for 6'5" too. He'll get long legs.
I think he's got strides.
Dang,
He's
dude.
got strides that can cover ground. Like I said, athletic, can hurdle secondary defenders.
Sheesh.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
Nice.
And he went to Wyoming too, so he's from the Mountain West. He's from the Mountain West Conference. When he was I think either high school or when he went to community college, our school actually offered him like a walk on spot,
Yeah.
and then he passed it up, and then later on he ended up going to Wyoming. Okay, we're jumping right in.
Yeah. What's next? Is it sports mech? Are we talking about sports next?
No, we're actually gonna jump into some reality TV.
I don't even know. I don't even know what to comment on this. I don't even. How are we gonna both talk about it? Okay. You leave. You
discovered
leave.
it.
Here, I'll ask you questions.
Okay. You discovered it when we were like, I think we were watching a finals game, and then the ad came up for it, and then
Max obsessed with this woman.
Yeah, and then I pointed out
Obsessed.
to you. So we're gonna talk about the Bachelorette star from this past summer and current Dancing with the Stars, Jen Tran, or the Vietnamese way to say her last name, Jen Tran.
What?
What?
That's how you say it in Vietnamese?
Tran.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just Tran.
Tran is like how like American people say it.
But Vietnamese say Trung.
Tran.
Vietnamese people, man, y'all need to make sense. You guys don't ever make sense. Is that racist?
That is Viet Cong.
I'm very cry. Okay.
Okay. So, Jen Chuan, she is, yeah, like I said, currently on Dancing with the Stars. I've literally never watched a season of The Bachelorette or Dancing with the Stars. Well, I've actually watched some Dancing with the Stars in the past, but I've literally never watched a season of The Bachelorette until this past season. You've only seen that small clip.
Oh yeah, because you forced it down my throat
Yes, I
after
did.
watching USA beat France.
That's right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
That was a
the
good game,
rose
good day.
ceremony. I showed you the most dramatic part. And when she has to eliminate a couple dudes and narrow her search down.
You know my perspective on it. It's reality TV. So some of them become friends on the show, right?
Yeah.
See, that's cool
Yeah.
because I don't know if it's media or movies, but they show men competing for women and they have to like beat each other down, and it's like Mean Girls or some type of high school cliche, right? So I like the fact that this one girl actually brings people together, which I think is more not only more wholesome but more realistic.
Some of them, they come out with some romances too.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I think a lot of them, like, okay, you can, like, on the episodes, like, you'll see the dudes. One dude causes drama,
Oh no.
all that type of stuff. And then you see on Instagram all the dudes, they take like group photos and they're like, and they seem like pretty super chill dudes together. Like, when the cameras aren't rolling, you can see the photos of those guys like working out together. So I think, I think a lot of it, what you see on film, a lot of it is to get the drama going. But I think at the end of the day, all the dudes are cool with each other.
Good.
So let's jump into like what we do here on campus besides KCR. I can't emphasize how
I graduate. What do you mean we do here? I don't do anything here.
okay. For you past tense. Me current tense then.
Yeah.
Like I can't emphasize how important it is and how fun it is to get involved on campus, like doing the things outside of the classroom. Right here, you were former treasurer for
Active Minds,
yeah,
mental health organization. That's
and then
yeah.
I'm currently vice president for AAJA, which is the Asian American Journalism Association.
Yeah.
For one, it's a good resume booster. You get into that leadership position, and it's fun. It's fun. You get to work with some awesome group of people. For me, the way I look at it is putting this as my metaphor as the vice president. I get to play as the second option. Right?
VP.
The president, that's the number one option. That's our best player. And then the
There's
vice
two
president.
presidents, right?
So for us, we have two co-presidents. So we're not the typical one president. So we have our two co-presidents, and then I get to play that second fiddle role as the vice president.
The Pippen, the Kobe,
Yes.
the Wade,
Kyrie.
the Lowry.
Yes. Kyle Lowry as well. And to be honest, I don't think I'm the number one guy. I don't think I could be your best player on the championship team. I think I'm much better where I can be the second fiddle or I can come off the bench because I just don't think I'm that top guy on the championship team.
I mean, I don't know how far you're going into this analogy because a championship team could be you waking up in the morning. Like, that's your championship. So you could, or like, it could, like, that's my championship. Like, if I wake up in the morning at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. to get to my 7:15 a.m., I just want a ring. And there was no other option. So I'm the first option in there. I through that analogy, I am the first option on a championship team.
Okay.
But at the same time, there's things like evangelizing. I would say I'm more of like a role player in that regard because I don't have the theology and even sometimes the charisma to go up to strangers and talk about Jesus, in a way where they can fully comprehend it and understand it and not be intimidated by it, So, and, in those regards, I feel like Lou Williams or Derek Fisher.
Jamal Crawford.
The number 1 6 man of all time.
Off the bench.
Yeah, so we can all be Jamal Crawford. We can all be Jordan. It just depends on where we're at. That's being human. Shapeshifters.
Sometimes, like earlier this year, our co-presidents couldn't make an event due to scheduling conflicts that they were table for.
You carried.
And so they basically said, all right, this is your game. You get to take the most shots. You get to call the shots.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, we're teams, so we got to have each other's backs. So it was my opportunity to take the reins and have a game where I get to take the most shots, but most nights I'm the second guy. Our presidents are our best players. They're going to take us, they're going to carry us and take the most shots and give us the best chance to win.
And on that night that Shaq got injured, Kobe scored 50 point. I don't know. I'm just trying to say you did a great job. From what I've heard, you did a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning into the Mac and Hui Show.
I'm Mac.
I'm Hui. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for wasting your time.
Come on, Kenza. Gonzalo Gabrai. Thank you, audience.
Put
See you next
subtitles.
week.
Actually, no, wait. You already translated it to English, so I
did.
don't need to do it. Thank you for making the editing process a lot easier. Whew.